Hello and welcome back to the David67 Celtic News YouTube channel. This video going to be a preview of tomorrow's Scottish Cup final. 3 o'clock kickoff against Rangers, live on the BBC and Premier Sport. A game I'm really looking forward to. Before we crack on with the video, just a wee reminder to those who enjoy the video and enjoy the channel. If you haven't yet subscribed, please do click that subscriber button. We've reached the level 2 YouTube creator, and over the next week or two I'm going to be exploring just to see what those options allow the channel to do now that we couldn't do a few weeks ago. And as always, do feel free to pop your comments in the comment section regarding the predicted score, predicted lineup, and any other current Celtic issues. Try to keep things pleasant, polite, informative, etc. And if you do like the video, please do click that like button because it means YouTube send the video to more people to look at. Now, Celtic appear to be going into the game tomorrow with a full squad, everybody fully fit. The only player for which there's been some doubt is Stephen Welsh. He went off against St Mirren with a recurrence of his shoulder problem. He appears to have been back in training the last couple of days, and so theoretically it's available for selection. I personally would be very surprised if Brendan Rodgers risks putting him on the bench, because all we really need is Cameron Carter-Vickers to pull his hamstring in the 9th minute, and then Stephen Welsh goes on to replace him, slips and falls, lands on his shoulder, dislocates his shoulder again, and suddenly we're looking at playing maybe Alistair Johnston in at centre back, Tony Ralston at centre back, and that would rather make us vulnerable. So much more sensible to go with Nawrocki and Lagerbielka on the bench. Both are fully fit. Both are, for me, way better than Stephen Welsh's players. However, that's up to Brendan Rodgers. I think otherwise the team picks itself. I'll come to my predicted lineup in a few minutes' time, just after a few stats. Celtic, of course, this season are unbeaten against Rangers, 3 wins, 1 draw. And in the last 8 head-to-head Scottish Cup matches, stretching back to 2011, Celtic have 4 wins, 2 draws, 2 losses in those Scottish Cup head-to-heads going back to 2011. And looking at the last 10 head-to-head games in all competitions between Celtic and Rangers, that's Scottish Cup matches, Scottish League Cup matches, and Scottish League matches. That was going back to 2022. Celtic have 7 wins, 1 loss, and 2 draws. The only loss being that 3-0 loss at the end of last season after the title was won, and Celtic were kind of coasting and protecting players for the Scottish Cup final win against Inverness Cali Thistle. And so it's a lengthy time since Rangers beat Celtic in a proper competitive game. And for me, and for the majority of pundits and bookies, etc., Celtic go into the game tomorrow as firm favourites to win and get the double this season. Rangers appear to have quite a number of selection problems. Players who are fit, having just come back from injury, a few players who may be fit enough for 45 minutes, and a few players who are going to be playing their last ever game for Rangers, with players such as Fabio Silva ending his loan after costing Rangers an absolute fortune in their share of his weekly wages, with very little in return for it. Lundstrom and Barisic also thought to be leaving on free agency, as is Ryan Jack. And there are continuing rumours that Tavernier and Goldson are going to go off and earn the millions in the Saudi League with their ex-manager Steven Gerrard. So, predicting Celtic's lineup for tomorrow, I think, is pretty simple. I think there were two positions in the team where there was some potential for Rodgers to have one or two choices. And for that reason, we did a wee poll on the channel. One position up for grabs, I think, was on the right side of the front three, with the obvious candidates being James Forrest, Luis Palma, and Nicholas Kuhn. We did a wee vote on the channel and came up with 86% for James Forrest, 11% for Luis Palma, and 4% for Nicholas Kuhn. So resoundingly James Forrest, which I think was my own personal choice for that position. Forrest has done well both as a player coming off the bench and as a starter, possibly a wee bit more of an impact player coming off the bench nowadays, but I think starting him and playing him 60, 70 minutes is a very good option on Saturday. And I think he and then Luis Palma or Kuhn can keep the left side of Rangers' defence and midfield fully occupied. The other position where there is a possibility of one or two choices would be who is going to be our central striker, Kyogo or Adam Ida. And again, the online poll with large number of votes on David's 67 channel came down with 76% for Kyogo and 24% for Adam Ida. I personally would have gone for Kyogo myself in terms of his experience, his success against Rangers, and I think his pace over the top and then behind the Rangers defence, which may well be slightly makeshift depending on who is fit enough to play for Rangers in central defence. I think that ability of Kyogo to play on the last shoulder, get in behind, to pick up crosses from Maeda and Forrest and through balls from McGregor, Hatate and O'Reilly will make him the choice. And then we've got the option of Ida coming on late in the game for a change of pace, a change of style, and so I think we get the best of both worlds with Kyogo starting and Adam Ida off the bench. So in terms of the actual starting 11, I think it pretty much picks itself. Joe Hart in goals, right back Alza Johnston, centre back Cameron Carter-Vickers, and then Liam Scales at left centre back and Greg Taylor at left back. Central midfield in the more defensive number 6 role, Carlin McGregor, and in front of him Rio Hatate on the right and Matt O'Reilly on the left. And I think there can be quite a bit of interchange between Hatate and McGregor to allow McGregor to go forward as well, with Hatate dropping back into that more holding role. Wide in the right, James Forrest. Wide in the left, Dyson Maeda to continue his torment of the Rangers captain James Tavernier. And through the middle as our central striker, Kyogo. This obviously gives us off the bench players such as Paulo Bernardo, Nicholas Kuhn, Luis Palma, Tomoki Iwata, Anthony Ralston, and personally I would go for Nawrocki and Lagerbielke and keep Stephen Welsh away from the subs bench because I think it's a bit risky personally. If someone's got a recurring shoulder problem, which against St Mirren came out with virtually no contact by the St Mirren player, it's too much of a risk to have him as our central defensive cover. However, you all may have different opinions as to who should be the starting 11 and who should be on the bench and who should be the defensive cover off the bench. So do feel free to pop your comments into the comment section. Now, in terms of a score, I'm going to go for a 3-1 win for Celtic. My personal feeling is that, much like all the games so far this season, Celtic will come out the traps and seek to get on top quickly. I think key positions are going to be Dyson Maeda down our left, to keep Tavernier back in the defensive zone where he is a liability for his team. I think Kyogo going through the middle and in behind, which then allows our wide players and our midfielders to get into the box to support him. I think Rangers may well be vulnerable through the middle with a possible makeshift centre-back partnership, and it does look like Rangers may well be trying three defensive midfielders to try and get some control in midfield, because I think O'Reilly, Hatate and McGregor, if they got on top in the midfield and get the ball through the middle and over the out wide, and use Taylor and Johnston overlapping and in the inverted fullback roles, I think Celtic are going to have too much firepower, too many chances created, and despite the fact that Butland is a very good goalkeeper, I think Celtic will have too much firepower and win the game 3-1. And one of the things I really hope for is that it's a good game and there's no controversy, there's no VAR issues where we're debating things for days and days about should it been this, should it been that. I think the last game, apart from the O'Reilly penalty, was pretty much quite clear decisions with a couple of VAR overrules that were correct, such as the upgrading of Lundstrom to a red card, and hopefully the game tomorrow goes without any major incident and Celtic get a nice comfortable 3-1 win and secure the double. So I'm planning to do a wee video on Saturday evening or Sunday morning in reviewing the cup final, and hopefully we have a nice happy post-match video to do on Saturday evening or Sunday morning. And so until tomorrow or Sunday morning's video, goodbye, thanks for watching. Good luck Celtic in winning the cup and league double tomorrow at Hampden Park, and hail, hail.